Hey yo guys, what's going on? It's your boy V Horn coming at you. Today we're going on a carriage ride, and I see it's coming. Let me just parkour my way down here. This is Zaylee right here.
What is up, guys?
No, my jawbreaker. Dropped it. Oh well. Zaylee, wait, ow. Well, I think I got bit by something right on my leg. We're getting on the carriage ride in a little bit. Coming right here. Yeah, it's pretty cool. A lot of people have been asking why the heck is my back part of the camera you used to film the back. Can't do that. It's covered. Oh, almost broke my leg. Whew. My leg almost gave in. That would have been okay. Say hi, Mom. Mom, say hi. Mom, say hi. Hi.
Where's your dinosaur?
Okay.
Come on, children.
It's gonna be fun.
Get in towards the back, not the very back. Hey Oscar, you remember that? Riding a horse-drawn carriage in Canada?
No. I'm sitting in the back. I'm sitting in the back.
Where were you at?
Let's sit right here, too. Let's sit by dinner.
No.
No, I don't want the kids in the back.
On the back, guys. In the back of the carriage.
Jenna, come up here.
But I got my own.
Girls can sit together.
I want to sit with you.
Gross. You two lovebirds.
Well, okay, then you're gonna sit with them. Denim, sit here. Put Gunner in the
Why
middle.
can't I put here?
Hannah, you want to sit with us?
Of course she is.
Don't chew them and don't.
Don't fight them. They're jailbreakers.
Why would you sit right there?
Alright, you gotta scoot over, Pace. Let me sit on the outside, bub.
Mom, why don't you
Yeah, let me sit on the outside.
No, I said I ordered it.
What, Tinsley? Zaylee's all the way up
Okay,
there.
I'm giving these people just a second to pat them.
Yes, sir.
And when we come back, you can pat them.
Yeah, I said that. Gunner in the middle.
Okay, and then I'll introduce myself and tell you some history and tell you about the book. So thank you for being patient.
He's not doing it right now. Okay. Look at my eyes. They're so pretty. Look at my eyes and don't die. Colonel's like, he's so full of it.
Mom and Grandma, look at me. Tinsley, turn around. Face you, Gunner, down. Cheese.
Cheese. What's up, Chaz? You haven't been in the vlogs yet. What's up? Enemy intruder.
Okay, my name is Steve and I live here in Cheyenne.
Hi, Steve.
Where does everybody live? Yay!
Mississippi.
Yay! Yay!
The rest of them here.
Okay.
Well, we're on the base.
Okay.
We wrote this not too long ago.
Okay, so this is a very sincere welcome. Thank you for coming out today. You better remember some of my stuff.
I'm not going to spoil it.
Okay, thank you. So I was a high school science teacher for 22 years. I had a chance to retire early. Sometimes they do early retirement for older teachers. They hire younger teachers and it saves them money. So I took my early retirement, started my carriage business. This is my 5th year. I go May 1st into October. I work almost every single day. The carriage is mine. It's called a Surrey with the fringe on top. Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain. Yay!
Grandma's going with it. Yay!
Most people don't get that joke.
I don't.
You have to tell him when we get it. So all my jokes are done. If you want to jump off, this is your warning.
Oh, I'm gonna
Like,
make jokes with you.
The horses are mine. They're draft horses. Draft games are big. The Budweiser Clydesdales are draft horses. Today these are Percherons. Sunny on the left, Cher's on the right. I have 9 big draft horses. They take turns every day. You remember who? Duke and Dixie. Very good, thank you. Good job, thank you. So if I only had 2 draft horses, there'd be no way I could be out here. They'd be worn out. But because I trade them, they're very happy. You can tell when we come back, if you want to pet them, you can just tell that they're okay. They would not be okay if I only had 2. They would be really upset. They would have their union rep. No more carriage rides. But you can tell when we come back, they work a day and then they get 2 days off. So 9 big horses. Do you know how to make $1 million with 9 big horses?
No.
Oh, you're so close. How do you make $1 million? You start with $2 million. Yay! Another dumb joke. It means that you lose money with them. Here is a shoe I'll pass back. It's very sharp. It fell off of one of my big black horses last summer. It's completely worn in half. It was only on her for 3.5 weeks.
Wow.
They're so strong. Their big feet crash into this hard street. And the street is abrasive and it wears out the steel. So they have to have shoes. If they didn't, their poor little feet would be worn out in a day. I do not put the shoes on. I have a farrier. They're blacksmiths, basically. They heat the shoes up red hot. And they have an anvil and they shape them so every foot is perfectly custom fit.
They don't feel nails under the toes.
Good question. It's the very end part, like that you trim off with your fingernails. So they pound it into the part that you would trim off. But yeah, if you're not a very good farrier, and if you pound the nails up too high, their horses
Sharp,
can be crippled.
Bubba, be careful.
So good question. So it's an
No,
art.
hold it.
People ask if I do the blacksmithing, and I've seen it a million times, but no, it's a craft. But yeah, you can seriously cripple a horse if you don't do it properly. So when we get down, ma'am, and you see the horse's hooves, there's maybe about that far right above the shoe is the perfect part. If it's any higher, then that's that part that you don't want. Good question. Cheyenne has a population of 60,000. It's the biggest city in Wyoming. Wyoming is 600,000. It's the smallest populated state. Thank you. 10th biggest in square miles. Alaska's the biggest. Texas number 2. California's 3rd. Wyoming 10th. 98,000 square miles. And we only have one area code.
Really?
307. Isn't that funny? I like it. I think it's cute.
That's great.
Okay.
That's crazy.
No.
Okay, today is Wyoming Day. This is a very special day. July 10th, 1890, Wyoming was a state. So what I would do if I were you, sometime before the day's over, go down to the Capitol building. They're giving out all kinds of stuff. I bet there's food. I bet there's free food. I'm not sure, but I bet there's all kinds of free stuff. So it's a big deal. Wyoming Day. And the Capitol has been closed for a couple years, so it will be extra special. So try to go down there. It'll be a neat day. Close your eyes, please. Imagine it's July 4th, 1867. Open your eyes, and Cheyenne was a town on July 4th, 1867. So notice the dates. Cheyenne is a town in 1867, but Wyoming was a state in 1890. So Cheyenne was the town in the Wyoming Territory before the state of Wyoming. So that's kind of an interesting thing to try to think about. There are 3,500 people right here, 3,100 men, 400 women, children, and some soldiers. The soldiers built a cavalry fort. It was Camp Carlin, now it's F.E. Warren Air Force Base. A very important part of the military. When we come back, or when we start going here in a minute, I will point out some buildings built by the cattle barons. Very rich people will come from England. They would invest in cattle. They could feed them for free. It was called open range. In a gold rush in Deadwood, South Dakota, 250 miles to the north, they bring the gold in on the stagecoach, ship it out on the railroad. A lot of cash in Cheyenne. Right next to us, the Wrangler building, I can almost see the stagecoach to Deadwood. It would stop right there. 4 big horses. It would would take 3 days to get to Deadwood, 250 miles, trading horses every 15 miles. I don't have a whip. These horses are trained and not broken. I personally never say breaking. Training to me means you teach them that fire engines and motorcycles are not monsters. There are very, very scary things in town for animals. I joke, but it's true. If I fall off the carriage halfway around, the horses will come back. And you'll see that. I face backwards. I talk to you almost the whole way around, and you can see that they really do know where they're going. They turn and speed up and slow down. It's really cute. In the olden days, if I was a milkman, the horses remembered every place that got milk, and I just sit in the back and put out my milk bottles, so they remember geography. Lastly, I'm going to kiss. Kissing means to move. I make a kissing sound with my lips. If I kiss once, they'll walk, and twice, they'll speed up. And I am a quiet guy in my personal life, but out here I talk a bit. I'm excited to meet you and excited to share the horses with you. So thank you for tolerating my food.
And this was a town?
Yes, ma'am. 1882. Well, that's 1882. So Cheyenne was 1867. So this is probably, you know, the railroad wasn't quite finished, good question, until the fall of 1867. So that was probably half of the depot. The trains weren't quite running through. The Capitol building was not here until 1888. So it was pretty barren. Good question.
That was here a year before the Capitol building?
6 years. So 1882 and 1888. Excellent question. And that's kind of cool because then you can place what it looked like, the different parts in history. And I kind of do that now too. When I was teaching science, I wasn't really big into history, but now I kind of think about all that. The Civil War was between 1861 and 1865. So if the Civil War ended in 1865 and Cheyenne was 1867, I bet some of those 3,000 men survived not getting blown up in the Civil War, and they just needed a job. Good question.
Was it red?
Yeah, pretty much. Good question.
Did they repaint it?
I'm sure they have. Several times.
Yeah, I think, yeah, probably a lot of that has been redone. Good question. Okay, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So is that your mom then?
This is my mom.
Okay, so when you said, so I was calling you.
This is my sister.
Okay.
She's the matriarch.
Okay.
She's my mom. I'm her mom, and she's all their mom.
Oh, nice. Well, that's cool. Thank you. This is a really special day. So Wyoming Day with a nice family.
Right.
Can't get any better than that, huh? Come on.
Really? They actually moved to get that's cool.
Push your on.
Cool.
I'm going to hold on to your hair so you don't fall out, okay?
So I apologize for calling you mom, but that
That's
was
okay.
okay. That was it. Okay. Well, I mean, I thought you was his mom.
Yeah, me, because I told him to say brother and sister.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to cross the street right here on the corner where those people are standing, and the lady is wheeling the bicycle. The sidewalk is kind of a pinkish red. It's made of stone. It's a 150-year-old Cheyenne stone sidewalk. Come on. What? So 150-year-old Cheyenne stone sidewalk. The train station behind us is stone. The Capitol building in front of us is stone. They used the stone because it was free and durable. I think these pieces are really thick because they're not broken. I'm not sure how thick they are. There were quarries around, 3 quarries within 30 miles. They cut the pieces at the quarry, bring them back in a wagon. I bet these were set with big pulleys and ropes. I'm not sure how thick they are. I'm going to sneak down here late one night and drill a hole through it. But I bet they're maybe like 4 or 6 inches thick. You have to use your imagination a couple times, please, because a couple of the old buildings burned down. Fire was a huge problem in the old western town. People would use kerosene lanterns, the steam engines would shoot off sparks. It was very, very easy to set the whole town on fire and hard to put the fires out. The fire department was pulled by horses. You only had about 5 or 10 minutes to get to the fire or your building was burned down. We are crossing the intersection right here. The building on the corner on the left, the 4-story tan building, imagine was the Opera House.
Opera House.
The Opera House was where very famous people would
That's
come
the
to
Opera
Cheyenne
House.
and put on performances. It was a big deal in Cheyenne to come to Cheyenne to this beautiful Opera House.
I despise opera.
But they had the Barnum and Bailey guys, so it wasn't just Opera House. They called it the Opera House probably to make it sound fancy. There's a picture on the corner right next to this green bench.
Wells Fargo.
2 stories, 800 people could sit in the audience. Some of the famous people I read about that came here, Lily Lang, she was a singer. Sarah Bernhardt was an actress. Barnum and Bailey circus guys. One day last summer when I said Sarah Bernhardt, the people in the carriage said, we're related to Sarah Bernhardt. And I like to share that because my story was real. It came alive. The Wyoming Capitol building at the end of the street, it was finished in 1888. But Wyoming was not a state until 1890. So it was the Wyoming Territory for a couple of years before it was the state of Wyoming. 24 karat gold on top, only 10 capitals had gold. Denver has a golden dome, West Virginia, Vermont, Iowa, Georgia, but not California, not Texas, not some of the big states that you might think about.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Do they know how to stay in the lanes?
Pretty much.
That's cool.
Good question. So only 10 Capitol buildings have gold. The building right next to us on the corner with the green awnings is called the Teton Building. There's a beautiful set of mountains next to Yellowstone Park in Jackson Hole called the Grand Tetons. There's hand-carved medallions on the top. They're round. Most of them are little people. They've been there almost 100 years.
There's an antique store.
Big red church in front of us on the corner on the left is 1867. As soon as the railroad arrived, the churches started springing up right behind it. It is a red sandstone building.
Sandstone, okay. And a sandstone. That's the church, guys.
These bricks are a little bit deeper red color. The more iron that was in the minerals, the deeper the red. There is a famous wedding in this big church between Wild Bill Hickok and Agnes Thatcher. Some people have heard the name Wild Bill. He was a gambler, a lawman, and a scout for the cavalry. Agnes Thatcher was a horse trainer. They were longtime friends. The marriage only lasted 5 months. Poor Wild Bill was shot and killed in Deadwood by Jack McCall. He was mad at Wild Bill for winning all the poker games the night before. He shot him in the back. They did hang Jack McCall for killing Wild Bill. And Wild Bill is buried in Deadwood next to Calamity Jane. They were friends. But he married Agnes Thatcher in the church. Come on. Okay, as soon as I get across the intersection, I'd like to stop and show you these 4 buildings on the right.
Okay.
First one on the corner with the green trim, 1861. Before electricity came to town, so no power tools, all built by hand. 1861 on the corner, next one 1863. Both built by the same architect. His name was George Rainsford. Can you please look at the building next to us? And the one on the corner we just passed, and tell me something they both have that's exactly the same.
I got one.
Go ahead.
You know where the address is, 209? Like
ship
the...
up?
Yeah, it's on that too, on the roof.
$5,000 in a free job for us.
Yay!
Excellent job. I learned those shingles as fish scale shingles, but I've heard them called gingerbread shingles, lap shingles, scallop shingles, a lot of different names. There was a little girl yesterday, about 8, and she called them mermaid tail shingles. And I love that. I thought that was really cute, and it's very descriptive. Kinda. So everything Mr. Rainsford built had the mermaid tail shingles and a bay window. The bay window next to us is round. Some people call it a turret. That one there is more square. So every bay window is a little different. Every roof line was a little different, but every house had the mermaid tail shingles. In back of this house, way in the back, it looks like a garage, but it was a carriage house where the horses used to sleep. And now they make root beer and beer in here. It's a brewery. It's not a bar. You can take families and pets. I see all kinds of nice families with their dogs on leashes. And the root beer is very yummy. So stop. I think they just opened. So stop and have a nice homemade root beer. Come on. Next building with the white columns. 1910.
1910. Wow, that is crazy.
His name was Mr. Netford. He was a rich cattle baron. This was a single family home. Giant building. It goes way, way back. Unfortunately now it's been divided into apartments and kind of run down. But imagine how beautiful it was. Brand new, and it still could be with some restoration and some money.
Yeah.
Next house on the corner. More of the fish scale, mermaid scale shingles in the bay window. This bay window here is 5 sides. The very first one we saw in the first corner was 3 sides. This is 1925. In 1925, when this was brand new, it cost $5,000 to build it. And that gives you an idea of the price of stuff and how things are valued. In 1925, next house in front of us on the corner on the right, there's copper on the very top, and the copper is really shiny now. First thing in the morning, it's dull. The sun isn't on it, and you can't tell it's copper. In 1888, it cost $50,000. That would have been like $1 million in 1888. Now it's a bed and breakfast. You can sleep here. The stone part in the back was the carriage house. Horses used to live here. Now these are beautiful bedrooms. So if you sleep here, you'll sleep in the carriage house and dream about the horses. The old stone blocks, the iron fence, the stained glass are all from 1888. The horses will pull in and stop. I have a story to share with you. The building on the left with the red, white, and blue flags was 1883. He was a cattle baron as well. His name was Whipple. And Mr. Whipple and Mr. Nagel would have a competition always to try to outdo each other. To try to have the biggest house. The building on the corner with the statues was the Union Pacific Hospital in the 1880s for all the railroad men. Now it's an art gallery, and there's some really beautiful stuff.
Art gallery, we might have to go there.
That's expensive. If you bend forward, there's a balcony way on the very, very top. And I love the ceiling in the balcony. It reminds me of a wagon wheel with spokes. Some people have said a peppermint candy, a circus tent. A lady today said a kaleidoscope. And I thought I like that a lot. If you see something you want to share it with me, if you see something new, tell me and I'll share it with everybody. One little girl said a flower, and I like that. It was pretty. The sign on the corner, Nagel Warren Mansion, 1888, bed and breakfast. Mr. Nagel was the rich cattle baron. He came to Cheyenne from England. He invested in cattle. He built his house and died about 1 year later. Mr. Warren was the Wyoming governor. Warren bought the house. They call it Nagel Warren to honor both of those men. If you'd like to see the inside of this, you can drive down or walk down. Just walk in. It's free. I promise they'll greet you and show you around a bit. When I walk inside, it's like walking into a time machine. And back in 1888 in Mr. Nagel's front room. You walk in the front door and there's a beautiful fireplace. The ceiling is made of leather. and I would have never, ever, ever guessed that. And I'm really good about figuring stuff out like that. It looks like metal. It's really interesting.
Yeah, we did a tour in that house, and up top, the ceiling with you said it's leather. They do the paper mache flowers.
Yeah,
that are up there.
it's beautiful.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, craftsmen. You never do stuff like that.
You guys did go
There's
there?
a block right here. It says Warren, not a tombstone. What do you think the stone block was used for?
Not usually.
Excellent, very good job. And the only thing I would change is that they would step on top of it and then get into the carriage. Good job, excellent. So they were called carriage steps. It was a way to get in and out of the tall carriages. They were all over the country. It was the Victorian era. Sonny is peeing right here. They pee in two places, right here in front of the root beer place.
Really?
Yeah, so there's only two places they pee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I hear it sounds like
They be in the same two places.
It seems like it, yeah. Or at my stable when I'm getting them ready in the morning, they pee there as well. One time I had 4 big horses. I was way out in the country, out in the middle of nowhere. And I had 4 horses in a different carriage, like a little, dune buggy kind of carriage. And I had to pee. And so nobody was around, and I got down and peed, and all the horses looked at me, and every one of them peed while I was peeing. It was funny.
That's funny.
So they probably pushed that stone over a bit because the street moved, because where it is right there, it's not very accessible. So stop in, and they would enjoy meeting. Come on. Next building, right next door, with the red brick, 1880. This people laugh, but it's a restaurant. This was the very first house in Cheyenne that had electricity in 1880. And I read that the kids in the neighborhood had ding-dong the doorbell and run. They had never seen an electric doorbell. Next building, you have to use your imagination again, on the corner, across the street, in front of us. Come on. So right here on the corner, imagine, was the Cheyenne Social Club. There's a picture right here on the right. It's brown, it's kind of fuzzy, but at least you can kind of get an idea what it looked like. The cattle barons come here to eat and drink and play poker.